All right, welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Cigar Talk. What up, fellas? It's been a while since we done got together and congregated. I wanted to start out with a few events. A lot has taken place since the last time we met. The first order of business here is we want to talk about the Spence and Crawford fight. What are your opinions?
Uh, I mean, shit. I think we all thought it would be closer. I mean, like way, way, way closer. But I mean, there's levels, and I say Spencer's not good, great in his own right. But I say we learned some things round second on, round two on. It was a gap. It was a gap.
I will say, I think what surprised me the most is Crawford's strength. Um,
Yeah,
I didn't expect him to be able to kind of like overpower Spence like that. You can definitely tell like he was pretty strong. He was holding his own. I think it even surprised Spence once he had gotten a ring or whatever, and he did that first pushback. I think it was like the second round or something like that or whatever. And I think Spence was just like, all right, this is a different animal I'm in the ring with this time around. So I was definitely expecting a closer fight. I was riding with Spence. I still have to salute him. You know what I mean? It take a lot to get in that ring and be a warrior,
yeah.
right? Um, but man, it was like the fight was just it's levels. I am excited if it actually happens. I would like to see a Canelo Crawford fight. Um,
Mm.
because I think from a Crawford standpoint, if he got a chance to fight Canelo and beat Canelo, I would retire after that. Like,
Yeah, that's payday.
I,
Payday all day
yeah,
long.
yeah, payday, and it's not like I feel like you done everything in boxing at that point. Like you just should go just like wrap it up. Like, but hey,
Mm.
it's his decision. Um, the next thing is I wanted to talk about was what happened with the Montgomery boat thing. What do y'all think about that?
Oh man.
Shenanigans.
And
Let, let, like I was been living under a rock. I didn't even see what happened, and I didn't even bother to go check it out because it's just like that's something that happened in Houston on a regular Saturday. I'm just keeping it funky with you. But I was like, man, I'm not gonna go look at that.
Do you think it was something that was taken to like
An
kind of
extreme,
race bait in a sense?
probably
I,
so.
I mean, in the middle it's like, hold on, man, you can't do that, young brother, like that. And then it's like, oh hell no. And then old boy got his Michael Phelps on and swam across there. Like, my nigga, you got us fucked up. You got us fucked up. And then old boy was like, Stone Cold, go get the chair. And he started swinging it like Barry Bonds. And it was a shit show for that
So,
one.
so I don't know the full story of it, but like I think from what I've seen and a little bit I've read, right, the the black gentleman, the one that was getting jumped, right, he worked there, and there was a boat that was in the way of another boat docking. And from what I understand, he tried to put their boat in neutral and move it. Am I like on the right path?
I want to say, yeah.
And so like, man, I ask questions like, is that part of his job description to go on somebody's boat and put it in neutral? And don't get wrong, I'm not trying to justify these people jumping on him because it's not a situation where like 8 people should be jumping on one person. You know what I mean? Like, but was that within his job description to be going on these people's boat, putting it in neutral, trying to move the boat? Is my question.
Hey, when this was what the Tell Chappelle show, one of the most spectacular ass whoopings I've ever seen. This is it. So, mhm.
jump into the topic. So the first one I wanted to go over was, how much of a role do you believe a person's credit play in their success?
I think a lot. One, like a credit can also help you save faster. A credit can also hinder you from getting into certain entry or pathways. Say, for instance, if your car broke down and you had a credit card and you really needed some tires, or you really needed that AAA to come get you, and there was a fee, uh, you can put that on your credit card, and then just pay it off in increments before the month's out, and be in a better situation versus a person had their last $200 and that toll fee is $249. Now they got to make a couple calls, scramble real quick, and be like, "Hey, yo, Joe, I need this real quick. Can you help me out?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't get paid till next Friday." And so now you're in a predicament to where, if you had credit, not only would you have like a better, more sense of confidence, but also you'll feel like you're in a better situation to be more reliable or help another person if need be. Credit opens so many doors and opportunities for better loans, better points off your home. So like people brag about they got a home for 7% interest rate, when like you could get a home loan for like maybe 4.9, and that's saving like hundreds of $1,000s over a 30-year period, versus the person that's spending $300,000 more because they don't have good credit. So credit plays a huge part.
Yeah, I can agree on that. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I think one of the issues I have with banks and credit card companies is kind of how they attack the communities. I remember probably when I was 17 or 18 or whatever, it's like they knew that this person was going off to college. I was getting all these applications for all these credit cards. And I'm with you, Rick. Like, I think like credit is very important, especially when you think about getting a house. You can't even get a house unless you have some pretty good credit to even like get looked at, right? But I think the banks capitalize more off of getting younger people to get these high interest rate credit cards that they can't pay. Because you look at the interest rates on credit cards compared to on houses, they like triple each other. Like, it's people that got 38% interest rates on a credit card compared to 8-7% interest rate on a house. So I think the system, like, it works in your favor if you got an understanding of it and you're educated about it or whatever. But I think for the most part, inner city kids are not educated on how to properly approach credit, which is where we run into the issue that I see a problem with. And I mean, that's on us within our communities to kind of fix it. That kind of starts in the home, like the parents educating themselves on credit so that they can pass that on to the kids. I think it's very important, because when I think about credit, I just think about a person's habits. It give you a very understanding of, like, I mean, their habits. Like, if like you like hell, I wish I could do like credit reports on people, like when you lend out some money or something like that. Let me see a credit report of the person or whatever. And he ain't paid Johnny
Man,
back $6,000 or whatever. Like, but that's what banks are doing. You know what I mean? Like, so I get it, right? Like, you take some, like, we want it back. So um I think credit is definitely important. I just don't like how it's advertised. Um, I think it
Yeah,
needs to be an education perspective attached to it.
we got, I mean, as a human race, I don't even say people, man. Like we gotta know the code. Like how we
Mm-hmm.
always say the code switch up. Like one of my friends, like he is a gangster, certified gangster with excellent credit.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell me, how does Tukey Williams have excellent credit? But he does. This he said his mom set him up on the right path,
Mm-hmm.
and he explained to me he didn't know what to do. And I said, "What's your credit score?" He said, "It's a 757." I said, "Oh, brother, you have excellent credit, because 750 caps off right there at good and goes to excellent. So
Mhm.
your life is completely set as long as you stay out of trouble.
Mhm.
So start living a good life in a few years. Uh,
Yeah.
and so it just depends, like, whether we set our children up or whether we have the discussion, the same way we have the gun talk and police discussion at a certain age. I think credit needs to be incorporated, at the same way. Hey, son, or hey, daughter, things are going to get a little bit different for you than others. You're going to get to go places where other people can't. And it's okay. And people are going to ask, hey, you got it? And you're going to lie to them and say, no, I don't. So that's how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like they said, like of course credit score is basically conducive with your paying back ability, you know what I'm saying? So even with, shit we borrowed in the past, old apartments, you know what I'm saying? We might have fooled around and you might have a broken lease from way back when we used dating so and so so and so. We're not gonna talk about that and get the depth. So even with even with like artists, they tell you like, hey, own your masters, own your masters, own your masters. But you can own your masters, but if you don't know what to do with it, is not to say it doesn't help. So even if you do have good credit, it's like, okay, are you going to use the loopholes
Mhm.
that other people don't know, or are you going to use that good credit for good use?
Mhm.
Like you can have good credit. It's like you can just do the plain Jane. Okay, house and car. You know what I'm saying? But there's other 20,000 other things you can do with good credit. You know what I'm saying, that we might not be knowledgeable about. So it's like
Yeah.
having that learning and that knowledge what to do with your good credit. I
Yeah.
think is the key for me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's facts. And I don't know who said it, but how they somebody said like if you don't know what to do with $10, you ain't gonna know what to do with 100 and 1,000 and vice versa. Like for me, a few months ago on one of my credit cards, because I always like pay it off before the due date or whatever, like, and I have been doing it for a while. And so what they normally do, um, especially if it's a credit card you done acquired in the first 3 years or so, or whatever, they'll increase your credit limit. And so
Mm.
I say that to say, like, whatever you're doing, what you're supposed to do, they reward you with more money. You can look at it if you got an understanding of credit and that education part of it, it's a reward. If you don't, then it's a trap for you. But normally, the people that's getting that got a good understanding of it, so and just know how to utilize it. So,
You know, I don't. It's twofold. I agree with y'all, but then I don't agree with y'all.
mhm.
I just That's the way the system is set up. Because back in the day, before credit cards, people had to pay everything cash.
Correct.
Mhm.
So if the system allowed you to come along and still pay cash for things, we
Mhm.
would still on a cash basis, like saving more,
Mhm.
buying stuff cash, not borrowing money. And then let me just take it back to this good old book called the Bible. We're supposed to be the lender, not the borrower.
Mhm.
So we making the banks rich. And I don't really necessarily think it's credit is attributes to a person's success. I think it's other attributes because if you paid everything cash, they can't stop you from buying nothing. You just borrowing money. It's I mean, yeah, you if you need a large sum of money to borrow it, if you want investments, if
Mhm.
you want to do something else, but really, if you got $100,000 job and
Mhm.
you can save and manage your money correctly, you can buy everything you want cash. You don't need to borrow money. And if you and the rich people, when you get filthy rich, they not borrowing money from no banks. They doing private lending. They asking they partner next to them, oh, let me 100,000, let me pay you back because the banks are transactional. They not moving fast enough,
Moving. Mhm. That's
and
true.
that's a problem.
That's true.
I heard Minister Farrakhan say, and ET, they be like, I'm not going to the bank to borrow no money because you
Mhm.
begging to borrow money. You got to meet their stipulations and requirements. When if you just was disciplined enough and manage your own money correctly and manage your own life right, you could move at your own pace and do your own thing. Yeah, some things they may charge you a little more because you don't have a credit score, you don't have credit at all. But the freedom that comes with not asking nobody to borrow nothing, the freedom that comes with being disciplined enough to save and having the characteristics to save a lot of money and to save and to buy things cash. That's a different kind of feeling. How you feel like so superior if you like, oh well, I gotta wait till I gotta get an 800 so I can go in here and ask for some money. That's crazy. I don't dig that. I'm just being real. I don't like that.
No, I hear you, yeah.
But I
Jonathan,
get it.
why you don't think people take the more because that's more like I think Dave Ramsey has the idolization about using cash and staying away from credit. Why
But I
don't you
think
think more people take that approach?
I grew up in that era. Like I'm right on the cusp of where people wasn't borrowing a lot of money. The only reason people was borrowing money back in the day like that was to get a house.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I mean, it's the same. But I mean, you miss out on so much character building
Mm-hmm.
by borrowing money instead of saving the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, saving $100,000, $25,000, like saving money really builds a person's character. It really changes who that person is because you have to go through so much growth
Mm-hmm.
to get to that point. Whereas if you kept borrowing money and paying it back, you're really not doing nothing. You're just showing that, oh, I'm responsible over somebody let me borrow their stuff. That's
Yeah,
not really
and it can be argued on both sides because I guess like when you think about the millennial and forward generation, um everything has been being done in a shorter period of time.
Mhm.
And I get you can argue both sides. Like I don't have no issue with either side. I think you should pick the one that works for you.
right.
Um but I think for the majority, like if you look at Americans, we don't, because we struggle. Because I think they were showing the numbers like 70% of Americans go from paycheck to paycheck, and those same Americans are getting credit cards they can't afford, no emergency funds, and all those things. All those things. I think it's just the education perspective that needs to be taught. And I think I have to put it back on us. It starts in our house. It's not no right or wrong. I think they should be educated. I think you should educate the child and he should understand both sides, and then he should be able to make that choice of what he believes is the right one for him. I don't think it's no right or wrong. It's the same thing like having a conversation about do you need to go to college or you don't.
That's true. I,
or real life, and of course a lot of schools gonna push it, or just get you a good old trade, bro.
yeah.
Get you a good, no, for real life. If I had to be at the crossroad again, I don't know. I
I,
don't know.
I'm right on.
Because history like has shown us that these certifications and entrepreneurs like your Ricky Shepard and your Daniel Emersons are outperforming from a finance standpoint people that are going to school and getting master's and PhD degrees. They're unable to find jobs. It's a very small percentage of jobs. So it's just like it can be argued on both sides. So
Yeah. It's that mind expansion, is that breaking out the matrix. Like, hey, I'm not gonna be doing this same old hamster and gerbil shit. I'm about to goddamn take this Lego and this raceway. I'm about to hop off the ramp on y'all ass. You know what I'm talking about? What's
yeah.
up, Rick?
Yeah, and I think you think of things differently depending on where you at financially. That part too. I just don't like. I don't think Jay-Z is just running to like grab like a bunch of loans. Just my opinion. I don't think he's doing that for the type of purchases he's probably doing. You know what I mean? Like, uh,
Yeah, you get you one loan to jump off the diving board and you never go back. When
yeah.
Right.
in the drug dealer perspective, he fronted me a brick, and now I got my own stuff, so I ain't never went back on that.
Yeah, and then you can argue Jay-Z took your approach, Jonathan, because he said he came in the game 100 grand strong, so he didn't like most rappers. Most rappers sign with the sign,
Yeah.
sign with the company and take the advance or whatever to get money. He came in and said, "I don't need the advance." So
I'm
Let me
just saying.
let me find out you listen to the Blueprint this week.
he named it the Blueprint. Come on, man. Y'all proving my point.
We say Hov did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that.
Hey, he giving you the answer. So just
But credit was really produced. Credit was really produced so they could print more money. That's why
yeah, definitely.
they needed a way to pump the system with more to print money and it not be inflated. That's
and that's why I argue on the other side, on both sides, because like they made that money off the backs of middle class and lower class Americans. You know what I mean? Like so.
Out of
Yeah.
hell of a system. Why would I understand? Like you know what to do with it, then do what you're supposed to do with it, and those who don't, you just it is what it is.
Yeah, that's why like if you look at it from a political perspective, that's why the Democrat side is very strong on maintaining the middle class or whatever. Because most of the time, like when it's time to do some taxation or we need some money, they get it from the middle class. All right. So for our next question, just a general view. If you want to go in more detail, that's fine. Where did you grow up, and did that affect who you are today?
Everybody don't all speak at once.
Everybody don't want to go at once. They just like,
oh man, I would say mine made me more well rounded. I'm from Brookshire, Texas, man, where you've seen first and foremost, like the people that are outstanding. They're very driven, focused, and community oriented. So that's the plus. But growing up as a youth, uh, poverty to us seemed like it was just another day at the office. So, you know, uh, if one of your friends didn't have this or y'all ate crackers and hog-head cheese, you're like, oh man, pass me some of that, bro. And so, uh, kind of when you start at a job, when you're making your way back up, like an odd-end job, you can relate to a lot of situations from where you came from. And I think Brookshire like helped me build like a lot of tenacity, a lot of courage, and then also just a lot of I guess character. Because at the same time, like I'm taught when things get hard, never to give up because I know what the bottom looks like and know what has been there before. So it definitely played a part with me being in the Woodlands now, where it's like, person goes to bed at 10 o'clock and everybody's at Starbucks by 4. So if you ain't doing that, then you snooze, you lose. So I think where you come from definitely plays a part in how you end up growing in the end.
Yeah. I also grew up in Berkshire and bonus location, Egerton as well. Basically, mom had me, grandparents took over, I'm saying, staying in Berkshire as well. Went to school in Berkshire, seen the same things in Berkshire. I was probably 10 minutes away from Rick. Like he's more in the city, I'm more like in the kind of like in the middle,
Outskirts.
kind of like yeah, basically the outskirts, as I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm more like in the country part of it. So Berkshire was all that when I did dibble dabble in there. I really didn't compare lives, but like everybody, well, not let me not say everybody, but the people I would interact with did have similarities. It was like, oh, your grandpa raised you too. I was like, oh shit, me too. Oh shit, you so and so. Oh shit, me too. Like I never like our lives were so parallel. It's like, hey, my mom had me at this age, and my grandpa had to step in, or another man had to step in. It was like I never compared, but it's like eventually, like it was a lot of parallels between my peers and you know how we grew up and things of that nature. But I got the city and the country mixed up so I can do the country boy shit. Like last night, like yesterday, I was dragging big ass tree limbs at my grandma's house in Brickshire. You know what I'm saying? The back door, came back later on the night and went to Axelrad in the city. Like I can do both, but it's like I got the appreciation of country, of silence, and being in the city, and I can do the rah rah, and I can do the sit my ass down by a bonfire with a beer, and like I can do the four wheelers, and I can be on the freeway with top down with Korean and sake with some people. You know, I can. I'm just like more. I'm just like more of a balance, and I appreciate I appreciate the balance of, you know what I'm saying. I can do both. You know what I'm saying. And like it's a humbling experience. Like especially like back then, you know, Acres back then is not Acres now. I mean, everywhere you come back, boy, you'll look around, you'll be like you in a whole nother world, bro. It's totally different. Like I don't go as much as I used to because it don't look the same. It don't have the same feeling, the same heritage. I don't know if that makes sense. You don't know when you get down here, but it don't have that same. Like man, when I used to turn on the street and I used to go to my aunt's house, well, I used to them to be in tears, man. This when my older uncles grew up. This when my older aunties grew up. This MC Williams. This is my growing with the high school, but it was middle school. We're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a rich history. You know, going because basically it's where 90% of the people I know from. And but when I do go to Berkshire, I got appreciation. It's like all the years. It's like, man, I sure wish I had me a little country house. And I've always had the country house. Like it's my house. Like it's the country house I've been always wanting. You know, it is as I get older, just appreciation. Just the back to basics, man. Just the humble beginnings on both sides, man. I'm just grateful. There's no other place I'd rather be associated with. Like I've learned some good things and some bad things. Yes, I have from both places. But I mean, I wouldn't trade that shit for the world, man. Yeah. Yeah, so yes, it did mold me. I said all that to say that, but yeah.
So for me, growing up in Acres Homes, right? For the most part of my life, I did get to get like small skin taste of like things outside of my environment. With my grandparents raising me, but my mother being in the military, getting to visit her from time to time and see different places, kind of helped expand my view that it's another world out there. So when I had the chance to go like to Germany and stuff like that, it's just like, okay. And I think for me mentally, I just made these small notes to my inside myself or whatever that when I got the opportunity to put myself in position, I would get out and see the world. When I when I meet people, they don't they never assume that I'm from where I'm from. So it's an interesting dynamic to it. I guess it's just to say that I'm well-rounded in that sense. And then when I talk about like, my experiences and stuff like that or whatever, or things I've been through and things I ain't had no business doing and stuff like that, they just be like they be in shock. I'm very much appreciative and I owe a lot of who I am today from my community and my peers or people I grew up around. I don't like to view things as like because I always grew up around older people. It's like they were teaching me bad things or whatever, but they were just showing me the things that was taught to them. But sometimes we don't grasp the when we experience in life. Like most of us are not like when we showing somebody something, we probably do it now because we a little more in the woke culture, but we not like saying every time we show somebody something, what impact is this gonna have on a person's future? So it's just kind of like a hit and miss thing. But I do owe a lot of who I am today to my community, my close friends and family. I'm definitely a reflection of my community. Hopefully most people view it in a good way of what's possible, so definitely. Definitely, it definitely helped shape me. Like Chris and Ricky said, it's definitely a humility to it too. Like I like to go back home, and just kind of like get in the car and just ride and just view. I like and I'm open to change. So Chris, like for me, it's been changing for me anyways, because I've been coming home every other few years or whatever. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
been, yeah, it's been changed for me anyway. So um, yeah, as long as the community is moving forward, right? I think communities belong to the youth. You know what I mean? So I think we just we adapt into our new roles. You know, we just kind of like overseers, OG.
Right. Right, that shit went on Paramount the last time I was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, listen, you'll look around like you don't know where the hell you at. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Shit, what about you, Jonathan, man? You don't hold that tongue, brother.
Oh man, I,
Oh,
I
dude.
I grew up in I say Willowbrook, like northwest area, not too far from Eggleston, but basically
Not at all.
we would call it the suburbs.
Mhm.
Uh do
Shit,
I
not now.
yeah, huh?
Shit, not now. Shit, Willowbrook and
Let this man
Exactly.
finish, bro.
Because it's the suburbs, but don't get it twisted. When I was
right.
doing a walk, I went to this real estate thing, and we was doing a walkthrough not too far away from there. Then I was like, "Oh yeah, this is one of the highest crime areas in Northwest Houston." I'm like, "Dang, no wonder why we was wilding out when I was younger." But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it plays a part because it sets the standards for you,
Mhm.
and it sets the tone. And I want to go back to what Chris said, talking about I'm sorry, yeah, Chris, and he's talked about it has a different feel to it, a different vibration to it. Uh, they said the two richest zip codes in the United States are in Virginia, and they said the guy was saying he was like they have a certain hypnotic rhythm to it,
Mhm.
which is people start acting the same in their environment. So it kind of raises you, it kind of sets your tone. So it does play a part because I stay in the Heights now, and
Mhm.
people always walking outside. Always, if it's 110, they still walking with their kids and their family. And
Mhm.
every time I look out the window, I be like, oh, okay, I see what they doing. It make me want to go outside and walk and push a stroller with my wife or something, when I get one and walk outside like that. So it's setting the tone. So wherever you at, it's gonna play a big role in who you become. So where I grew up, even though I lived in an apartment, you step out the apartment, it's $1 million houses in walking distance. It's $1 million houses, but I didn't know. I was a kid in high school. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm going to school with people who parents is doctors and stuff, but I didn't
Mhm.
know no. I'm just in the mix. Like, hey, you cool? We can hang out. Woo woo, whatever. Man, the quarterback of my football team had a Harley Davidson truck
Mhm.
with some bang in it. A Harley Davidson special edition. We
That's
was
crazy.
riding. Man, we went to a party, a house party where this cat's mom ordered some strippers. I was like, what, man? You have to
Remember, man,
think
you on live. You on, about to say,
you
man, you on live. Don't say no, you're gonna regret
like
it.
I was like, so when people like, again, I have both experiences. You party in the hood, yeah, your drugs run out when you in the hood,
That's
but when
true.
you in the suburbs, the drugs never run out.
Nope.
The drugs
And the
don't
parties
the
never
drugs
get shut
run
down.
out. Money don't run out. Everything keep flowing.
Yeah.
And that's what that's the dangerous part of not, people think, oh, you grew up in the suburbs, you had it easy. They really necessarily don't have it easy. They just have different hurdles.
Yeah, that's facts.
They have
That's
they
facts.
have different hurdles than the people in the hood do.
Hmm.
Like it's different, you know. So again, I just think it does play a role in who you are, but at a certain point, it's like, okay, that does play a role, but now what do I want to do? What does my internal compass take me?
Yeah.
What feels right to me and what don't feel right to me?
Yeah, it was even like for me, like when I even think being here in Japan, like you made me think of it, Jonathan, when you was talking about going outside at midnight and stuff like that. Like the crime is almost zero here in Japan. Um, Kids 6 years old, 7 years old, catching trains by themselves, like no parents or nothing. Like that's even still mind-boggling for me. I still be staring like it's a little kid right here. I'm talking about a little kid. Like these little kids, I don't know if y'all familiar with what Mount Fuji is. It's like it's like it's when you come out here, it's like bad luck if you don't hike it or whatever or something, because you end up having to come back again or whatever. Like, but it's kids, like the way they operate from a health standpoint as far like physically or whatever, like they just like they their mindset is different because their environment is different. Like it's just mind blowing to me, especially for me or whatever, because a lot of the stuff that I have the opportunity to do, they experiencing this at 8, 9 years old. Like when I went snowboarding, they just skiing and snowboarding right past me. But I'm like a kid. I'm like a kid in the can. I'm having the time of my life, falling at 4 miles per hour. They going 30. Like I'm like, but like, but you know what I mean. But just the environment, they able to take a bigger risk because this is how they grew up, in a sense. Like so I think definitely I appreciate like where I came from definitely set the foundation. And I can appreciate the things that I've experienced since then. Because it just weighs even better, like or whatever. I know what's possible because of my foundation and what I experienced moving forward. So. All right.
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like staying in the woodlands and spending most of like my adulthood there definitely changed from coming from Section A to I turn and look on every corner. There's a golf course. It's crazy to me. Like I put it in perspective. Like I took some of my Greens Point friends and said, I want you to come look at our bridge and our lake. It's like, you got a lake? I said, yeah, I got a lake, but it's not that much to me. And then, you know, they see the houses and stuff on the lake. And then like it kind of made me take a step back and realize like where I came from. Cause like when I first moved here, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm staying here. And like Avery pointed out, like, you know, put it in perspective, like in Brookshire, like if I was coming home at 2 or 3 o'clock, I was keeping my head on the swivel to make sure wasn't nobody out lurking. And I would always park my car in that window to where I could see my car. Versus when I come home in the woodlands at 2 or 3 o'clock.
Bro, for real.
I tip my hat to the officer and he looked at me like, I know you had a good night. He's like, yes, sir.
Bro, I didn't know it wasn't normal to not have burglar bars and stuff on your windows and stuff like that. I didn't know that was some hood stuff. I thought like all the houses was doing it or whatever till I got outside my neighborhood. I was just like
I put that whole story in perspective. Like my friends always say, man, Rick, you rich? I said, no, I'm not. And he said, yes, you are. I said, bro, you got a bridge with houses in the water on the lake. He said, so you may not be rich, but your community is rich in spirit, so that makes you rich. Keep saying you're rich until you get the picture. I said, okay, I guess I'm rich then. So you rich. I said, okay, I guess.
But you know, Rick, that's a blessing because like whether you see it that way or not, because you still ascending to like higher things in life. So you just don't see it like that. But for people that's in these communities that we talking about, that is rich for them. That's the end goal for them for the most part. For a lot of people, you know what I mean. It's just I just want to get to the other side. You know what I mean, of Houston. You know what I mean? Most people don't even know what it means when we say that or whatever. Most people, I want to get out the inner city of Houston. It is the ultimate goal for them. When I think about my grandmother's generation, because most of the people that came from Acres Home came from these countries. They came from Brookshire. They came from Navasota and stuff like that. That was their goal. The thing is, they brought kind of like this country poverty mindset into these communities. in a city, because I mean, you at one point, Acres Home was viewed as what Woodlands was early on. Before then, we were saying it correctly, Acreage Homes, as it was originally called. But that was what the community was. It's just we kind of tore it down. Not kind of, we did. You know what I mean? And then it became in the city of Houston. You know what I mean? That just tells you like how powerful the mind is, though. Like it just the conversations I had are different. Like Ricky, you can have a conversation where you're at right now, and then I want you to go to the corner store of my house and have a conversation. It's just gonna be different. Like it's the nature of the beast. All right. So for the next question, what is a failure? It can be your biggest failure or anything that comes to mind. And what did you learn from it?
I'll go first on this one. I think I look at things differently now. So let me rephrase how Avery said that. You learn more from your losses.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep winning and you're a champion, if you keep winning, you can only learn so much from a win. But when you lose, it's so much more things to go back and analyze, take apart. Okay, what did I do wrong here? What did I do right here? Okay, you just look at the picture. You scrutinize the picture. You scrutinize yourself and where you. So for me, my biggest teacher in my life was getting a divorce. Oh man, I think that was like that created a whole nother Jonathan. Even though it was tragedy, but I learned so much from it. Because without it, I don't think I would be the person I am today. And you can't really reach people without going through some things, which is in a sense like you have to go through something to reach the masses, or when you talk to people, get your point across. So with that being said, like the only reason why I would call it a failure if it was called that is because I quit. Like I think one of the things I gave up on, and I look back at one point in time and I was like, man, I ain't never quit on nothing. Like never. I never said, okay, I'm done, I'm finished. Unless it was, it was over. But as far as like me saying something that can keep going, that doesn't have an ending, I never quit on. But that's the only thing I ever quit on. And I was like, yeah, I'll never do that again. Not as far as like not get married, but I'll never quit on anything again. Because I think you could keep going. Taught me how to love better. It taught me, where did I go wrong? Where did I go right at? Why did you? What mindset do you need to have to take into your next relationship? Are the relationship with your friends as loving as you say you are? Are they? It just taught me how to look at people around different, like, and look at the family dynamic in a different picture. Especially for my children, because I had just had a baby when I got divorced. So that made me look at life different all together. So I really appreciate that in my life. I really appreciated going through that. Yeah, I really appreciate, like I said, we don't like the losses or the failures, but man, when you really look at it and see what happened, you can greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah,
So I think
a lot there. I think you said a lot when you said when you can look at it. I think when you're able to kind of look at it and assess the situation, right? Like fully assess it or whatever, you can find so many lessons in it. That you can apply to not just that situation that may have taken place, but even other aspects of your life. Especially when it comes to marriage, man. I think marriage is, I don't think it's like viewed as high on priority list anymore. As it was years ago. I think it's a generational thing, right? Um, and it can be argued on both sides. But regardless, like you can take that commitment and look at other commitments you make in your life or whatever, and some of the same principles can apply to it because that's exactly what it is. It's a commitment for the rest of your life. So
Yeah,
you can make
I,
it.
I, I tend I tend to look at it like a partnership, and that's the biggest way for me to to not get overwhelmed because like man, like I'm the first in a lot of things in
Mhm.
my generation, especially in my family and my tight knit family. So like for me, like going to school first, had
Mhm.
to learn that on my own, kind of like your boy Jay-Z. Had to hustle at night, some might get took you. I have to learn how to get it back. Um, and the same thing with marriage. Like I didn't really have like I had people that I could lean on, but I didn't feel really comfortable like opening up to them to where it was like, okay, I really can trust this person with my secrets and what I've done in my life.
Mhm.
Um, and now I'm married. And it's one of them it's one of those slippery slopes where it's like, I'm learning how to build a partnership and I'm learning how to be open and forgiving, and then at the same time giving stuff without seeking anything in return. And not everything being about sex, but it is because I love it a lot. I love it. I love it. Um, but I'm gonna get y'all ratings up, man. That's
this,
all.
this man,
Hey,
But
this man,
hey,
this man is a
hey,
predator.
hey,
but
hey, Rick, I'm with you. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Shoot. Hey, you
in a
better, hey,
row.
use it or lose it. All right. It's
Yeah,
scientific facts behind this
yeah.
stuff. Use it or lose it. All right.
Hey,
But
hey, 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 you better shoot that cannon off.
but yeah, man. I can honestly say though, like for me, like one of my biggest disappointments uh is actually when they literally say holding a grudge to the grave, man. Um, that was one of my biggest disappointments because a lot of people know like me, like I can have nerves of steel, and sometimes that can be a detriment.
Mhm.
And like I felt like one of the things that really hurted me the most, and man, I ain't gonna lie to you, I still have sleepless nights, and I think it's something like similar to what Shaq said about Kobe, was not pairing that relationship, repairing it before that person passed away. And
Mhm.
like I kind of had to deal with one of those things and still got to take that probably for the rest of my life. Like, man, I really wish I would have repaired that relationship with probably one of my best friends, and Chris know them well. Um, before that person died, man, because like you really have a sense of entitlement to feel like, okay, this is how I feel. This person wronged me. No, I'll forgive you when I'm ready. And you never think you'll hear a phone call that, oh, such and such has passed on. And you like, man, wait, say what? And I was like, yeah, that person's gone. It took me 3 weeks to reach you,
Mhm.
but that person meant so much to you. And I wanted to make sure that I let you know. And they always checked on you, and they always said that they were sorry. But in your heart, you felt horrible because you were not ready to forget that person.
Mhm.
And forgiveness for you looks like 10 years down the road and you made it. And you showing that person like, hey, look, I made it now. I'm over you. Now forgive you. And so uh,
Yeah.
it's like I think that situation has caused me to not only, man, a lot of sleepless nights, I ain't gonna lie to you. But it has also helped me have more compassion for human beings because like I always say to myself now, like no situation is big enough to where I can't forgive a person. No situation. I may not be with you no more. I may not have you in my space, family members too. But I forgive you because I never want to hold a grudge that strong anymore to where family member, coworker, co-founder, and my coworker's out there somewhere. I love him. We just going through a bit of a dispute. But I never want to be in a situation to where a person feels like they went to the grave knowing that Ricky Shepard did not love them. And so when I take that in perspective, I always try to repair, whether it's mentally or spiritually, their relationship within my heart, so I can forgive them and let them go on and heal their self as well, so they can forgive themselves. So that was probably my biggest disappointment.
I do better if this question was asked at 24, not 34, because I just look at the perspective of just like, not saying I don't have any quote unquote failures and this and that, but if anything, just like the totality of like, you know what I'm saying, I didn't read the whole thing, but the power notes of the power of now and just staying present. And you know, just like we just like, you know, we're just having like just grandparents and, you know what I'm saying, want to do stuff for your mom. It's like, I want to do this before 24. I want to do this before 28. And you just, well, I can say we, but I just forced everything. I just wanted everything to be done at a certain time, a certain space. And I really didn't just respect the journey. And I think just at my age, not saying like I'm 60 years old or nothing, but just at my age, I'm just respecting the whole journey. It just taking everything in totality and really just appreciating the grind of it. You know what I'm saying? Just even then, I'm still learning. You say you stop living, you stop learning. I'm still learning every day. It's like even with that, like the Super Mario Brothers or just one of them old games, and you die, and then you fall off and they say game over. It's like, okay, boom, they're gonna throw that fireball next time. So then, okay, next time I start this game over, okay, pick up the fireball so I can duck down. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm learning as I got your ass on stage 2 when I come back after I get this last life. I got your ass this time. Like it's just like I'm learning literally, and it's just like me being present. It's just like so prevalent to me, man. Like I said, man. Avery, you know, Rick, you know, bro. It's just, Jonathan, I'm sure you know, we're looking at our parents and our grandparents and our aunties and uncles, and we're seeing them just like get up in age. It's kind of like I want to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're not saying we took it granted, like, oh, they're just gonna be here for 150 years old, but it's just like seeing them just like get up in age is like, whoa. It's just like just appreciating the journey and just like seeing younger cousins graduate and get the diplomas and getting married and getting kids. Just appreciate just everything in general, man. And I like I said, I'm not Richie Rich and no shit like that, but I'm just being rich in life and rich in spirit, man. I just wish I had more, just like being present, you know. At a younger age, you know, I was just trying to do everything just so quickly, and I didn't grasp, I didn't take the time to just really look around, you know. And I'm doing at this age. I mean, if that's what you want to call a failure or regret, I mean, because I don't live my life looking at the negatives. And like you were saying, John saying perspective, man. I just I don't see it. I don't see no negatives no more in my life. I don't see it. Maybe you call it naive, but I just don't
Right,
see no more negative.
right on.
I don't know.
I call it growth. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
For me, I wouldn't even call it a failure. It would have to be waiting so long to establish a relationship with my biological father. Initially as a kid, it was anger. I carried anger. I didn't even know why I was supposed to carry anger. I just knew my mom felt a certain way, so I'm supposed to feel a certain way. When I got to my teenage years, it's more so, man, this is when I need you. My grandfather just passed. I need to know what to do. How do I become a man? Get into my early 20s. It's kind of like now I'm making them young man mistakes, stuff that I didn't have to make if someone was there. I'm kind of leaning on my older peers. My older peers don't have fathers in their life, so it ain't much that they can provide for me there. But I always put the position on him, like, well, he ain't doing it, I ain't doing it, or whatever. But I was just carrying. I didn't even realize it or whatever. But that's still, in a sense, carrying anger inside of you or whatever. I still was carrying because I was spiteful in a sense. And I just hate that it took for my grandmother on that side of the family to pass for us to kind of come together and realize that life is short. You know what I mean? Because regardless, like and it hits even more home because God has a way of like bringing this revolving door for you or whatever. Because it's just like we are getting on the same wavelength as far as a father-son relationship as I'm getting ready to be a father, and I think and God is working on His own timing or whatever because you need that. It takes a village, like and I'm not saying I'm gonna fail as a father, but the numbers look better if if I'm able to be a son to my own father. You know what I mean? Because that question is gonna come up. What do I tell my son? It's like, what was your daddy like? Yeah, yeah. And you know me, I'm always preaching the family dynamic or whatever. So he might call me out on my bullshit. Daddy, you always talking this family shit, and you ain't even doing this, you know, like. So I think definitely or whatever, like, and I don't even know if I call it a failure or whatever, but like one of the things I wish I would have did sooner, you can view it as like a regret, is reach out sooner and establish that relationship. I think that has factored in how I deal with people in other relationships. I can look at relationships as far as with like loved ones or friends. Like a lot of times I can be a very distant person or whatever, but like I'm trying to learn to close those gaps in a sense. So I think that's an area that I'm looking to make better for me. And so I knew a big part of it because it was still empty in that part of filling that void. Like, and you can't like, and it's just one of them things, like as much as you try to put something else there, it don't fit or whatever. Like it requires certain pieces of the puzzle. And I'm finally kind of like trying to figure that out now. So I think that's one of the big things is that I would stepped up to be a son. And it might sound crazy right now, but it's a real thing. Like I think the idea of like me taking and trying to put the responsibility on somebody else is no. I'm a person that I always preach accountability or whatever. What can I do? And that's the way I have to start looking at life. So
No, true shit.
all right.
Yeah, man.
So last question. In your opinion, what is the most important or one of the important personality traits or strengths that someone would or should need to achieve success in a career or a business or just in life, period? What is that one trait that comes to mind for you and why?
Okay.
Persistence, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
was
good
gonna
one.
say the exact same word.
Man, bro,
That's a good one.
bro. Listen, just that. Well, back to the grind, and it's just like that. It's always that meme picture where you got them two people with
Digging a
the
dime.
pitching.
Yeah.
Like with the pitches, and then they got one with the diamonds, and it's like the ball like this little bit, and then it's like I'm tired, I'm done, and you just right there, and like you know what I'm saying, and it's just like that perspective is kind of like you really don't know how close you are, and I know even then it's like, man, I just been grinding it so long, and it's just like, hey man, get your
Yeah.
10,000 hours, get your mastery up.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it'll come. Like I said Ricky this thing one time, man. You could be knowledgeable about something, you could be ahead of your time, but sometimes the stars just haven't aligned with where your mind is right now. So listen, the time just got to catch up to you. So like, listen,
Yeah.
just keep on pushing, like, and the time will be like, okay, boom. Because I can tell, you can tell somebody something, you can even tell a woman something, but if they're not able to receive it, listen, don't come to me 6 months later. It's like, oh, I see what you're saying. Crown. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to like it's like everything's just so fine timing, man. And it's just like just being persistent, man. It's just like this it's just like the everyday grind. It's like, cause I know it's just like we want the instant, once the instantaneous, we want the boy, if I can see these five numbers is on. I get this 1.5 billion, it's popping. Like it's just, but it's just like the grind, just like the jab and the jab. It's like the knockout punch is cool, but it's like breaking somebody down for 12 rounds, unanimous decision is
Oh
like
man.
He's like, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
Like this good firm, thorough answer that I'm
Man,
giving you.
this man done
Like,
went Bud.
it's
This
like,
man done went Bud Crawford on me, man.
no, for real, like, don't get me wrong, like, ain't no wrong with a little
Tactical
knockout punch.
tactician over here, man.
Listen. There's nothing wrong with just like the knockout punches splash is good. Nothing wrong with the getting the trust fund money from your family, but just like you
Right.
appreciate so much more Ricky Shepard everywhere to Jonathan getting it from the ground up. Like I started this from Nathan to
Yeah.
something. Listen, can you tell me shit? I can. What else? What else could I do? What's that, Puff Daddy? Ooh, I can do whatever. Listen, give me something else to do. Like for real, like. Oh no, bro. I'm just excited for the future for all of us. This is not just me, bro. I don't give a damn. Like I don't care. I'm sorry. I just went off on a rant. This is damn apple cider vinegar.
What's in that coffee, man?
I got some apple cider vinegar as a headache.
Hey, normally it's Jonathan dropping nuggets. Chris done dropped them on today.
And listen, I got them in peanut oil. I'm dropping nuggets everywhere. Get your Polynesian and your sriracha out, goddammit. No, but that was it.
But yeah, I mean, to back up, I mean, it's hard to kind of follow up with that, but like as an entrepreneur, 1000% is persistence, and it's not persistent in a way that people think, or like you hearing a rap song or rap lyrics where it's like, I feel like you trying to know, and if you keep hitting your head on that wall, it might be time to open a different door. But it's persistence in the fact that, you know, if you originally said you want this goal, the joy is in the journey. You don't stop when you feel like you've given up. You stop when it's done. Be that as it may, never give up or don't quit. Like every fraternity has a poem they have to read. It's called "Don't Quit," and the reason why that poem is read is because no matter how hard the fight or how hard the journey is, be that as it may, big or small, don't stop until it's done. And so either you're done or it's done. And that's kind of like the mantra or mentality I built up that I learned out here in the woodlands as well. Like you see people driving a Lamborghini Urus to go pick up Starbucks. Like I have never seen that in the history of my life. See a G-Wagon that rappers rap about, dreaming about, getting advances about, going HEB to pick up groceries. For those that don't know what HEB is, it's a supermarket that's more suburban than Walmart and Target combined. And G-Wagons are just randomly there to pick up some apples. So when I say persistence, I mean the thought and imagination and intestinal fortitude that you have. Put that together every single day. And the joy is in the journey. It's not that you don't have it or that it's coming soon. You have it now. You just haven't received it. And so if you're rich in spirit and rich in prosperity and rich in abundance and rich in your mind, you already have it. You just haven't received it. You walk like you have it. You talk like you have it. From some people, they call it fake it till you make it. But you have it now. And if you carry yourself that way, you'll shortly receive it. So
Visualization
is the number one key to all things in life, whether it's your marriage, whether it's being a better friend so you can have better friends, whether it's entrepreneurial endeavors. Like as long as you persist and getting up, waking up every day with even minimal effort, 1 hour a day. If you do 1 hour a day for 5 years, you, my friend, will be wealthy and successful. Fuck the bullshit, whatever other people heard. Take your ass to bed, 10 o'clock, get up early. You can grind, but you're going to be tired. So take your ass to bed. Do it the Woodlands way.
Take your ass home.
And get your ass up. And that's really it, man. Just the joys in the journey. There'll be learning curves and obstacles, of course, but there's no such thing as disappointment. Each time that you wake up and try again or learn a new skill, you're becoming rich in spirit, so therefore you're becoming rich in prosperity. So I think that just continue to apply yourself, learn new skills, take on new advantages, and learn new outcomes, and then network, and you'll be fine in life.
I 100% agree with you and Chris. Like persistence is key. I think it is one of the number one main facts, but I think one that I'm gonna say is underrated. People just gotta like you. Like you gotta be likable. I think,
Yeah.
man, you could get into some of the best places with just being likable. You just really got to be likable. I don't think people work at being likable. Like if people like you, even if you don't have the skill, you don't have the talent, you could be dusty, crusty. What like hey, I like you. You come with me. Let me show you something. Let me show you what's over here on this other side of the wall. You know, it gets you into places where you couldn't get into. I think that's one that I would say is a skill that people need to work at more because they say even back to the marriage thing, even in the marriage, they say the reason why people last as long as it does, or those people who make it, is because they likable. And just for the record on the marriage thing, marriage is not for average people. You got to be elite. I'm just saying, like people be
I'll
like,
let y'all speak on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying I can get married. There's nothing I can do. It's for the elite. If you notice, people who are married and stay together for longer periods of time, they have a better quality of life. That's higher quality.
Hold it right there, Jonathan. Hold it right there. It's not average to stay married for a long time. Is what you
Come
should
on.
say it.
Yeah, I agree with
We
you.
just got through talking about a commitment. I'm telling you, that's the not average part.
But again, that's why it's for the elite. The
Yeah.
elite keep hacking away at it time and time and time again. I'll jump on the persistence bandwagon. They keep waking up saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. They keep waking up doing that. They keep hacking away at it. So that persistence things falls into there right there. But again, that likable thing, man, how likable are you? Like, how cool is it to be around you? I just want to be around you. You just likable. I just like you. Everybody like that cat. Hey, invite that dude who you brought last time. I like him.
Man, so it's interesting. Jonathan said that. So mine is kind of like following along suit. So for me, it's gonna be grace. In two ways. So just being graceful. So being a considered and thoughtful person. I think that's so important. When I think about over my own life or whatever, and I think about my faith, God has grace over my life. I think finding a way to kind of master that would take you a long ways. Sometimes I find myself like having the ability to do something, and I will set that expectation for everyone else or whatever, like, and then be judgmental about it, like, why he can't get this done in this time frame or whatever. But if I show grace to him, I sit down with them and had a conversation, because you never know what somebody is going through. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just a consideration of actually experiencing and understanding the person before you go to try to pass judgment on them. And I think showing grace is a big one. I think it'll get you a long way. It's definitely been a big in my life. I talk about it all the time, even when I work and morning huddles, is just showing grace to people. That's always one of my big leadership things that I like to talk about. Grace requires you to not only be the leader, but to learn to put that leader title to the side and serve the people that's under you. Great. If you look it up, moving gracefully is moving elegantly, right? Like Jonathan was talking about it, like charming, kind, or whatever. That person is noticeable moving through the rooms. He's probably the one that's closing the deals. He's the one that has all the nice things, and it's no surprise. You know what I mean? Like, so mine would be being graceful and showing grace would be a big one for me.
Nah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, man. Oh, this is a powerful show today, man. I didn't know y'all was gonna come with the heat today.
Listen.
Always
Listen,
never lacking.
I want to
They
thank
would say
everybody.
we back at it like a crack addict. I don't know
Hey,
what I
man,
said on
hey, because you know they,
Are
you
are
know,
we still live?
because they've been messaging me, man. They're just like, man, y'all not doing shows no more. I was just like, oh man, I went down for the count for a little bit. I had to recover.
Hold on. So the streets want their product.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I told him I might have to.
Listen,
I told him I might have to bring it to him twice a month. I'm still thinking about it.
listen. Listen, I don't give a damn. You put a chokehold on it and call it blue dog shit. Let me catch you. Let me catch you.